very welcome to the explanation of the Wheel of Life, which is Buddha's most important and most essential teaching. My name is Sungrab Özer. I'm ordained in the Sakya tradition from the Tibetan Buddhism. And at the moment I study in Kathmandu, and I'm very grateful to help my friends here about some explanation of this thangka. A thangka, maybe you know, is a role painting. It's very traditional, since long time a tradition in Buddhist monasteries and in Buddhist teachings. And the reason why it is called a role painting, because the lamas at the time could bring it to the monasteries, and from the monasteries to the people at home for certain rituals: birth, marriage, old age and death. And they took the thangka under their arm and they used it. And this thangka is also used as an explanation in pictures, images. So for people who could not read or could not write, they could understand because the Lama explained Buddha's words through this role painting. And in many Buddhist monasteries you will see this painting at the entrance of the temples. So when you come in, you look left or right, most of the time you will see this painting. And why do you see it so many times? Because it is the essence of Buddha's teachings. Buddha was very concerned, Buddha was very touched by the suffering of beings. And his deepest wish was to find answers on why is there suffering and what are the causes of suffering. And if I can find the causes of suffering and the way to liberation from suffering, then I can explain this to everybody who wants, so that all beings are becoming free from suffering because of liberation. And this essence of Buddhism, this essence of Buddha's wish, is depicted in this wonderful, profound thangka and explanation. So we will go through it step by step, because it is very profound teaching, but it is better to start simple and understanding, because you do not have to be a Buddhist to understand this. Every human being can understand, because it is a reflection of our life. All people, all human beings, all animals, all living beings experience what is here depicted. So there's no need to be a Buddhist to understand. We will all understand. What we see here is the wheel of life. You see the spokes, the center, and it can turn. It means Samsara. Samsara means the ever-turning ever-turning wheel of life. So our life continually is turning every day, every month, every year. After death, a new life is coming, and it is therefore a mirror of what we experience in our life. So Buddha was very interested. What are the causes of this samsara, this turning, all around the turning in samsara, being trapped in the turning wheel of samsara, life after life, every time, again and again. And every time we experience suffering, every time we experience happiness, every time we experience daily life, but we never find peace, we never find liberation from this turning of the wheel of life. So the suffering is coming back again and again, and the happiness is coming back and again, but it is not stable, it is not continuing, it is changing every moment. Every moment we've experienced happiness or suffering or neutral feelings, and nothing changes. Every life, same turning of the wheel. So Buddha was eager to find an answer on, is it possible that we are liberated from this turning wheel of life with suffering and happiness ever changing? Can we be liberated? And as Buddha always started his teachings with the causes, not the solution but the causes. So in the beginning we find 3 symbols for the causes of our suffering, the causes of the turning wheel of samsara. First there's the pig, which stands for ignorance, no wisdom. There's a snake, which stands for anger, for hatred, for destroying. And there's a peacock or a bird, it's different, which stands for desire, for grasping. So we have desire and we have anger. And you see that they bite in each other's tails. That means they are interconnected. When there's ignorance, there will be anger and hatred. And when there's anger and hatred, there's also desire and grasping. These are the 2 most essential movements in our existence. To grasp what is attractive and makes us happy, and to put away what makes us angry and makes us suffer. And the basis is ignorance. In this circle we find a white and a black part. The white part is the, you might say, the karma, or the positive actions. The positive way of thinking, the positive way of speaking, and the positive way of acting in the body, with the body. And you see that there is the Buddha. So this wholesome thinking, that means being concerned about the happiness of others, and being concerned about the suffering of others, and to develop my mind to have beneficial thoughts for the happiness of others. That makes me very happy. Also, this is called the positive karma, and it leads to liberation. That's why it goes up. And the black karma means all the negative deeds. And you see it's going down, because it brings us in lower states of existence. The negative thoughts like hatred, like jealousy, like anger, like proud of myself, and speaking and hurting others, having negative thought about others, humiliating others, no interest in others' well-beings. All these negative, unwholesome thinking, speaking and doing is called negative karma or black karma. And it tumbles down. That means it brings us in a state of suffering. And it brings others in a state of suffering. It is impossible when we hate someone, when we are angry at someone, real angry, then the other person will not be happy and I will not be happy. That's impossible. But when I find peace, try to find peace in positive thinking, in preventing someone from suffering, that makes us happy. That brings inner peace. So this is the cause, and this is the way of thinking, positive or negative, the way of acting and the way of our mental attitude towards other beings. So this is cause, and this is the acting. In the mind, in the speech, and in the doing with the body. This third circle is the result. So we have cause, we have acting, which is karma. Karma means always doing, acting. And then we have the result. Everything we do has a result. Be it positive wholesome or be it negative. This is the law of karma. So Buddha said these are the causes for suffering or the causes for happiness. So then we see 6 realms, you can say. And this is this horizontal line, and below this line there is the extreme suffering because of extreme systematic negative karma we create. That brings us in terrible states of suffering. In these states of suffering we are below the line because it is very, very difficult to get liberated, to free ourselves from negative karma. When we kill someone again and again, when we hate again and again, or when we insult others again and again, we have no control over mind, then slowly we become insight into a hell world. So this is all creations of our own mind. Some explanations, the traditional say, these 6 realms are somewhere in the universe, below the earth, or in this cosmos. That's okay. And some modern explanations say these 6 realms are inner states of mind. We can experience them every day. Not always is possible, because it's insight. So here we find the hell realms. There are many details, but there are many kinds of hells. But the cause of this hell, this terrible suffering of pain, of destruction, of heat, of cold, of murder, of being burned. This is the hell world which is caused by anger. Not one irritation which we all have, but when we have a dominating anger or hatred, or we ignore other people, we are not interested. We are not interested in them. So we have very hard feelings towards others. That brings us in states of suffering. And you see that here is the Buddha. In this realm, the Buddha says, if you want to be free from the suffering from the hell realms, you need the flames that bring heat where it is in the cold hells, and you need some coolness when you're in the hot hells. So you have to find an opposite force. If there is terrible suffering from hatred, we have to find an opposite force. And Buddha shows this. The opposite force is patience. Or the opposite force is also called metta, loving kindness. So the opposite of hatred, anger, is love and kindness. It's the same with the snake. The snake was also the hatred and the anger, you remember? And the opposite force is loving kindness. That's the way to liberation, to do the opposite. On the left we see the hungry ghosts, the pretas. We see also many details. And the main cause for being born in the hungry ghost realms, the pretas, is the desire, the greed, the grasping. So, me, my interest, my possessions, my happiness, my pride, I'm looking good. So strong ego with always hungers, always thirst for something, material things and mental things. So there's a great self-interest in a negative way. Always longing for someone, for something more, something bigger, something beautiful. So you see, for instance, these flames, when the pretas get something to eat, they have terrible hunger, and they eat, they don't appreciate it. It is like flames in the mouth, and it hurts. So, this realm of pretas, the hungry ghosts, are obsessed by having more, and having more, and having more, and just for me, myself. And when we get something, we cannot enjoy it. We are never satisfied. It's called hunger and thirst for many, many things, material things and emotional things. And here you see also Buddha appears, and he has a bowl with water. And he said this water will make your suffering less. When you drink this water, this nectar, then your body will be healed. Actually, it means it will heal your strong desire, your grasping to everything, not having detachment. So Buddha drink this nectar. That is the way to liberation. The nectar of non-attachment, the nectar of non-desire. Then on the right we see the animal realm. And we can see it everywhere, that animals are suffering. You see the dogs on the street, many examples. And the problem of animals is that they lack wisdom. Animals, they have instincts. They think, and they don't think, they feel something comes up and they act immediately. They have not the possibility to deliberate what is good, what is bad, what is good karma, what is bad karma. They react instinctively and they kill each other and they eat each other. So this is the realm, the animal realm, where the cause is ignorance. Here it was also ignorance, the animal, the pig. And the opposite force for ignorance is wisdom. That's why Buddha is standing here, coming with a book of wisdom, probably the Prajnaparamita, which is the wisdom. Someone has to bring the wisdom to the animals. But of course that's very difficult for animals. That's why for these three realms it is very difficult to find liberation. Because the suffering from karma is very, very intense. So that's why below the line. Then there are some better realms above the line. Let's start with the gods. You see the gods, they have palaces, they look beautiful, they have many friends, they have many possessions, they have a swimming pool. That means the god realm is not literally there. You can see it literally, but basically it is a mental state where everything is very positive in my life. I'm looking good, I have everything I want, I have no financial problems, I have many friends, I've never my life is very soothing, always having happiness. So we feel like a god. It is also a mental state. When everything we have, we are respected and we are honored and maybe we are famous, we don't know. But everything is very positive and happy because of very good positive karma. That's why it is the God realm. It has many lives of very positive karma. But what the gods forget, that is their problem, is that when you eat all your positive karma, with being good and being happy and being famous and enjoying it, maybe then you forget to build up continuously good positive karma. So when you forget to continue with building up positive karma, wholesome karma, then your positive karma will disappear slowly. And then you will end up in the hell realm, because all the positive karma is gone. And that's the terrible suffering of the gods. There's always a moment when they see my positive karma, my very good life is now going out and I will die and I see the hell realms because all my karma is gone. It's a terrible suffering of the gods. So it looks like a very happy state, and it is, but actually it is not. And then Buddha comes and he has this instrument. And when you have an instrument, you have the sound of the instrument. The sound comes and disappears, comes and disappears. And that's always, as Buddha shows by this music, be aware, you gods, that your positive karma will disappear like the sounds of the instrument. Be mindful, concentrate on your positive karma. So the concentration for the gods is very important to make to be concentrated on that their state is not natural. It has to be continued. Then, so the cause why we come into the God's realm is pride. Look at me. That's the pride that brings us into God's realm. Here we have the half-gods, the asuras. And you see them fighting with the gods. And that's because of their jealousy. The half-gods, they are also like gods, but a little bit lesser gods. And they are jealous because the gods have it better. We see that in daily life as well. We are a little bit jealous. Demigods, these half-gods, these asuras, they suffer from jealousy. That is a great problem for the demigods. And then Buddha appears and he says, when you keep on struggling and fighting, you will never be happy. So what you have to develop is morality. Morality means have a mental attitude to be content with your life, to be happy with your life, to have few wishes and not to be jealous, and to share your wealth with others. That is the morality. Not hurting other people, not fighting with other people. The morality means not hurting other people. That is the way of liberation from the realm of the demigods. This is also very good realms because of very positive karma. But it is very easy to lose the positive karma when we don't continue with creating positive karma. And then it becomes negative karma. And the last one is the human realm. And the human realm, also many details, is the realm of desire, and the realm of impermanence, and the realm of permanent change. That's for our human beings the great problem. We have desire, but everything changes constantly. That is, we can see that in everyday life. We have desire, but we are not satisfied. We have no patience to wait to receive what we want. We are never content. There's always change. Every moment there's a change in our life, in our mind, in our situation. Day by day, moment by moment, it's constant change. And people, the human dream, they want to have the desire to find stability, to be free, that the desire will be satisfied. But it will never happen. These worldly desires, they come and go. There is no permanent fulfillment of desire in the human realm. And there's always change. But that's the suffering of the human beings. And here Buddha comes with the teachings. He says you have to think, to contemplate of impermanence. You have to think and contemplate on your desires and your wishes and your grasping to eternity while everything is changing. You have to reflect. We human beings, we can reflect. We can contemplate. We can make choices. And for animals it's very difficult. In the Helm realm also very difficult. In the Preta realm also very difficult because the suffering is intense. But in the human realm we can contemplate. We can consider, what shall I do? What is the best? So these are the 6 realms. And this bird, as we know, was the cause was, she shows the cause of desire, of grasping. So the opposite force is to contemplate, to make decisions and to think about our desires and about our grasping. So there are causes and there are counter forces. And there's another opposite force of this desire, which you also see in the Preta realm. Instead of grasping, instead of having desire, the counter force is to give. Right? Generosity. Instead of grasping and holding everything for me, it makes us much more happy when we are generous and we share with others, mentally and materially. So there is suffering and there are causes of suffering. And there are ways out of the suffering because of counterforces. That's what is all here. Basically, it is impermanent, it is changing. It is a very relative way of living. That is the ignorance. And Buddha says, as long as we believe in that, we will always turn in samsara. The wheel will always turn. So we need the wisdom of study and contemplation. We have to reflect on our life, on our circumstances. We have to be mindful of our thinking, our words, everything inside. That is the way out. Then finally, so that is the way, the Eighth Noble Path. Eightfold Noble Path. Finally, we see this terrible creature, which is Yama or Mara, which holds us in the claws of ignorance, which holds us in this wheel of samsara again and again. There's no escape, unless we follow Buddha's advice. Or you see also the ignorance, and here, and the impermanence. Here we see Buddha, and Buddha points out to these enlightened beings and to generasi, Avalokiteshvara. Buddha says only the wisdom and the compassion can bring us out of samsara. The wisdom of seeing reality as it is, and the compassion for other sentient beings, the hell beings, the hungry ghosts, and the animals, the asuras, the gods, all people we suffer. And compassion and wisdom, these two, Buddha says, and we can develop this in our mind, in our words, in our way of behaving, our moral conduct. That's wisdom and compassion. That is the way to liberation, to being free from suffering forever. Of course, we can have toothache, but that is not big suffering. Here Buddha means you can liberate from the suffering of the wheel of samsara because of wisdom and compassion.